Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. Current events, headlines that are in the news, technology, social media, and items of interest, little curiosities that are happening during the week that I'd like to share with you guys. And as of this recording, we are celebrating the Thanksgiving holiday this week, so I hope all of you guys had a great Thanksgiving. If this is your first time here, I'd like to welcome all of you and encourage you to click on that watermark down there in the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe, and then click that notification bell so you guys will know when the next Friday Vlog is available, along with additional content that is here on the channel. In gaming news this week, November the 20th on Tuesday was the world launch of Battlefield 5, and as promised, I do have some video coverage for you in the format of an overview of the game up here in the top right-hand corner, so be sure you guys check that out. I am having a lot of fun playing it once again, especially with my guildmates. Also on November the 20th and or Tuesday of this week, we also learned the new expansion for Civilization 6. Firaxis put on a stream where they are introducing the new kind of climate system to the game. The expansion is called Gathering Storms. So essentially what's going to happen now is we will be experiencing things like blizzards and floods and droughts and volcanic eruptions there. And as you enter into the industrial era, this will start to take effect. I'm not sure whether or not it will coincide with volcanic eruptions, but nonetheless, some civilizations will be able to take advantage of some of these. I think Egypt is able to take advantage of floods, and for Russia, during blizzards, anyone attacking them during a blizzard will get negative modifiers to their attacks. So it will be interesting to see, and I am kind of happy to hear that diplomatic victory has been reintroduced. Now, it will be a little different from Civilization 5, but in many of my Civilization 5 games, I did go for the diplomatic victory. So I'm looking forward to that. So that means that we'll see the introduction of the World Congress. So the world government will be introduced, but I'm really kind of looking forward to all these new kinds of mechanics. They did tease some of the civs, but they did not mention them by name. So I'm also looking forward to that. That, I believe, will be released in February. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I will post links down in the public section below concerning those particular topics. This week we learned from Google that they consider free speech treacherous. That's right, the tech giant is concerned that free speech proliferated and brought about through the internet could be a major concern. Now, it should be noted here that every second on Google, 30,000 search queries are conducted, and every second, 76,000 videos are watched on YouTube. So really the concern revolves around what we talked about a couple weeks ago when it comes to Article 230. Google is concerned about how individuals use their platforms and use their content, as in what they generate and what is disseminated among the people. But the thing here is that a lot of these tech giants have insulated themselves with Article 230, and we've seen this kind of across the board. So this was a luxury that was not offered to Gab. Now, I will leave a link down there in the public section below if you guys want to read all the particular details about it, but I did find it kind of interesting and fascinating that the tech giants are continuing to exercise levels of censorship and deplatforming and other suspensions and other things, because this is a growing concern. And of course, we thought this was going to be a major issue there during the midterms, as we see these continuing senses or aspects of censorship throughout the tech giants. But interestingly enough, this week, as we shift gears, we focus on Jack Dorsey, who was visiting India. And apparently he was gifted some sort of sign that actually was in a photograph, and it was picked up by the Indian people there in India, and it concerned hate speech, actually, because the sign was denouncing the caste system. In other words, it was some romantic patriarchal sign that was given to him. And so this created a flurry of activity there in India from officials and pundits and the media and social activist groups there in India. So here's Jack Dorsey violating his own rules on his own social media, or more specifically, I should say that Twitter says that they can punish people outside of their platform who may be violating their policies on Twitter. So it's kind of interesting to see, well, what is Jack Dorsey going to do? Now, here's the thing, guys. When you try to micromanage language, this is going to happen to you. Now, a philosophy that I've adopted and say from time to time is that there are individuals out there who hold themselves to a certain standard, but they anticipate that others will be exercising those particular standards that they themselves don't hold themselves to. So in other words, you have individuals out there who are trying to be virtuous, who are trying to appear righteous, and yet at the same time, as human beings, we will violate our own standards. And this is also a very curious event as we shift gears to yet another area where these types of activist type ideologies and philosophies are trying to be adopted and used to appear as though people are taking the high road. We see that Alyssa Milano is now in a bit of a discussion with Linda Sarsour there, who is part of the Women's March. And of course, Linda Sarsour being a Muslim and a kind of advocate or supporter of Louis Farrakhan, who is a known Semite. And of course, this is creating a rift within the Women's March, of course, because like them, like Jack Dorsey, and like Google, they all want to appear as though they are the social activist leaders, that they are the examples, that they are the distinction from which everyone can make their moral arbitering type decisions. So here we see the infighting of what happens when in time, guys, in time, when you try to create these environments, these nebulous sort of environments that are supposed to inoculate everyone from bad things or terrible things that happen. You know, life is a series of beauty and barbed wire. So the thing is, these things are coming back to haunt people, just like we see, for example, all these individuals that have been attacking Trump. We're now seeing how these people are reaping what they sowed as these things are starting to come back on them. So guys, here we have a series of examples on topics that we have talked about where individuals are trying to control language, control the environment, control the narrative, and it's backfiring on them. We see this in media as well. It's backfiring on them too. You know, you can only be so negative. You can only be so critical. You can only attack people so much before negativity, or we could even borrow it from the Indians to say that it is only a matter of time before karma comes back upon you. But nonetheless, all of these interesting topics came up this week kind of in order, and I thought it was very curious. Now, I don't know what Jack Dorsey is going to do or what's going to end up happening there with Jack Dorsey, but I found it kind of fascinating, interesting how this all kind of culminated together and ended up falling in his lap. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on how all that unfolds. Henry and Henrietta, the happy hippies, have run into a dilemma. They have run into a quandary, if you will. And just like we discussed with individuals who try to control language to give a certain impression or a perspective to others that they are righteous and virtuous. So basically what happened here was a female applied for or attempted to purchase a firearm in 2011 and was denied that purchase. Now, it wasn't because she wanted to smoke marijuana recreationally. It was not because she wanted to smoke marijuana illegally, nor was it because she needed marijuana for any particular medical need. No, what she was doing was showing her support. She was part of a cause. She wanted to be part of an activist movement. So she applied for and obtained a medical marijuana card. And because she did so, she was denied the purchase of that firearm because although in some states it is legal to obtain and use marijuana, it is not federally. In other words, it is still against the law federally to obtain, have, and smoke marijuana. So she was denied her Second Amendment right, which is kind of interesting because this was a ruling that came from the Ninth Circuit Court in a 3-0 decision. So here we have people on a daily basis complaining about how their rights are being denied across the board. And then when you ask these people, 10 times out of 10, they can't tell you what that right is because it's not really a right that they feel they're being denied. It's really more of a privilege or other item that they think that they're being denied. In reality, it really isn't. And this is why I often like to ask people about that, because as a Second Amendment supporter, here is a clear signal that an individual is being denied the ability to obtain a firearm, which is clearly legal within the Second Amendment. Now, of course, we have things like red flag states and other things, other interventions within states, and this is where state and federal laws can become a little confusing for people, and why it's important that if you are a firearm owner to always be aware of the changes to laws in your state, your city, your county, and federal, because you never know what is going to change. As a matter of fact, here during the midterms, there was an election. I believe Massachusetts has just legalized recreational marijuana, but of course it is still a Class 1 drug according to the federal government or the FBI. So this individual, I guess when they were conducting their background search, went across the FBI during the background search. So you can see background searches do work because they came across this and said, oh, by the way, you have a medical marijuana card and you are engaging in an illegal activity, so we cannot grant you a firearm. Now, gun control activists were kind of jumping on this to suggest that, well, marijuana smokers do not present any particular danger, or, well, I guess if you've been around people that actually smoke marijuana, then you can probably understand why they would not present a particular danger to anyone, as opposed to, say, like alcohol or something else. But nonetheless, I thought this was a very curious and ironic situation. But nonetheless, I will leave a link down there for you guys to read a little more about it, and you guys can get a little more information concerning what happened there. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Wanted to share that with you. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the Friday vlog for this week. I want to thank all you guys for your continued support, like, shares, and comments. Guys, be sure to continue to do so. I appreciate all that you do to help out the channel. And I would ask that you click on that watermark you see there, that channel icon appearing there on the screen, to subscribe to the channel. And then, of course, click that bell for notifications. You can make your own selection as to when you want to be notified when the next Friday vlog is available, and or additional content here on the channel. And I will see you guys next Friday.